Have you wondered why corn prices have gone up 50% during the month of April? In this video, we're going to explore why that is. Hi, my name is David Bergvinson, Chief Science Officer with WatchER, and for this May the 4th, 2021 edition of the World Weather Watcher, we're going to take a deeper dive into rainfall patterns in southern Brazil and how that's impacting corn prices. If we look at the corn price during the month of April, we see that it went from about $5.50 a bushel to $7.50 a bushel. And much of this is driven by the concern that maize production in Brazil is suffering due to drought. If we look at our map of the ratio of precipitation to potential evaporation globally, we see that this critical index for rain-fed agriculture shows that for southern Brazil, it's been very low, a value of around 0.4 to 0.2 for the last 30 days. Now, when we look at that compared to the long-term normal shown on the left, we see that it's significantly lower, shown here in orange and yellow, than the long-term normal. And when we look on the map at the right, we see that for much of the area, about 63% of the area, it's received about 100 millimeters less rainfall than normal, and in some places, 20% of the area, 200 millimeters lower than normal. So when we translate this to this ratio of P over PT for commercial corn production zones in Brazil, we see that on the left, that for much of these key areas, the ratio of P over PT is much lower than normal, and in absolute terms, this index is around 0.2 to 0.8 for these key production zones. And for maize to be successful, that ratio needs to be above 0.8. Now, if we look at the forecast, unfortunately, there's not much relief. We see that for much of these maize producing areas here, that they're going to receive about 40-50 millimeters of rain in the next 2 weeks to finish off the growing season. This is not enough to recover from the drought that these plants have experienced during the growing season. Now we can have a look in more detail on a week-by-week basis at the rainfall for each of these key areas that have been impacted by drought. And we see the blue bars are the weekly rainfall, and the orange line is the long-term normal. And we see for this critical period in March and April, when the crop has flowered and filling grain, that there were many weeks where the rainfall was well below normal for each of these four key production zones. And if we look at the rolling 20-day average of rainfall, we see even more clearly the difference for each of those four locations in rainfall compared to the long-term normal shown in the gold line and the blue line, which is indicating the current observed rainfall pattern for each of these four key production zones, with many of them experiencing more than half the days below this critical ratio of 0.8 P or PT value. If analytics like this are of interest to you, we invite you to go to our website to learn more about how weather analytics can support your business in becoming climate resilient. Or you can get started on your journey of weather science right away by going to our adapter platform at apps.aware.com, where you can register for free to access our world weather data as well as analytical tools so you can start discovering how weather's changed where you live. Until next week, take care.